Biggie on sports. He says what they won't say. Tune in, connect, and hear a different perspective.
Once again, welcome to Biggie on Sport. In today's episode of Your Sport, we'll be unpacking two issues, looking at development on the grassroots level, as well as talk about, the sports scouts, as to what is their purpose and what is the thinking behind teams having such departments within their teams or relevant teams. Helping us through unpack all this, Coach Whity joins us in studio to talk to us about that. Coach, welcome to Biggie on Sport.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who is Coach Whity? You are known as Coach Whity, especially in the city of Ekurhuleni, especially within football fraternity, but to be precise, in the city of Ekurhuleni. And you are known to be a man who's very much quite driven and passionate about football. Tell us more about Coach Whity.
Thank you once more for an opportunity. Coach Whity is a developer of kids, is a nurturer of kids, is nurturing kids in terms of development. So I'm a qualified coach who have gone through all the structures of SAFA. So in short, I can say, as we narrate my story of how it all came about, it started at school, where I actually started developing and showing passion on how to develop young kids in football.
When you say young kids, what age are we talking about here?
Kids at school level, we are talking at kids from 6 until 18. That is we are talking grassroots, you are talking youth coaching. So grassroots, we're talking age 5, 6 until 12. Then once they graduate to secondary school, we are talking 13 to 18. That is the youth coaching. So all those processes have gone through in terms of the qualification of coaching these young kids.
You seem to have a very impeccable CV behind your name. You have worked with big PSL teams in South Africa, your Orlando Pirates, Kaizer Chiefs, Maraga Swallows. Just for the benefit of the audience at home, just take us through that.
Yeah, it was a good thing when I was identified by one of the coaches when we were attending our introductory course, Junior Bengu. He was impressed by my presentation during the course because you have to present and do practical session. So then he went back to Pirates, spoke to Augusto Palocias, who was actually the head of development. Then I was called in to say, here's a job, come and coach the under-17. It was 2004-05 there. I coached. Then I started developing more interest in the academies because of the nature and the appetite of working with kids. So 2004-05, 2007, then I left Orlando Pirates, went back to Benoni when there was still a Benoni Premier playing in the PSL.
In the PSL.
So I coached July Mahlango and other Tsepo Maslele and other prominent players. So that's where I grew up and started developing that interest. On the other side, I was still teaching. And I even went further to go my professional license, that is level 3, 2010. So that's why I started enjoying football, and I networked with powerful guys, Pizzo, Dr. Steve Kompela in those courses. That is the level 3 we attended together. Then I went to do my CAF license 2013 with the very same gentleman that I've mentioned that we're all together in that course. Then I went further to go and work for Kaizer Chiefs as a technical administrator in terms of recruitment.
Before we get to Chiefs, leaving Benoni team, was it because the team, or was it defunct, or you left Benoni because perhaps a carrot was dangled in front of your face, big carrot dangled in front of your face, so that the Chiefs come join us, or you wanted also to have more meat on your CV?
When I left Benoni, it was because School of Excellence, the one that produced Pinari, you mentioned Pagamani Mahlambi, Oprim Diba, all these prominent players who were doing good. They recruited me. They said, there's a space you can come because we know we are from Benoni Premier. So I went and joined them. I worked there for 5 to 6 years, and it was so interesting. I enjoyed working in that fraternity. It was so nice. So 2016, there were interviews at Kaizer Chiefs. Naturena. Dr. Kumalo called me. We had a good relationship with him. He said, hey, Chita, come. People are sending some CVs. Come and join us. Then I sent my CV. I was invited. So Steve Kompela was working there. We sat together in they were in the boardroom. There were a panel of 5 members. Bobby Mdaung, Steve Kompela, Keral Sibebo, this gentleman from Conti Gubega.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the 5th one. Who was it? So then it was nice because everything went well. Then I was told that you'll head the technical administration of Kaizer Chiefs. But my passion was to coach. But maybe they saw something. They said, we'll rather give you that position of technical
head.
So, but I was still working with Ada as his assistant and also as a manager for reserve team.
Okay.
So at times we'll say, Coach, can you bring some input? So in a way, I was not lost in coaching. So I still had to do the coaching part of it with him. So everything went well until I felt that, no, it's fine now. Let me grow again.
And talking about Arthur as well as that development side, at that time, if my memory serves me well, Chiefs in that particular division was doing well. Was it at the time we were still with Arthur at that time?
Yes.
It was doing well because fast forward to sometimes 2023, 2022, 2023 season, we saw young players being promoted to senior side, your Mashianis and so forth.
Arthur was doing very well. He's passionate. That's why earlier I made a mention of that. Once you work with kids, you must have their passion. Number 2, you must understand their development. Working with kids without understanding their development, it's going to crush you as a coach. You'll have challenges. But fortunately, Arthur understood them. So Mashiani was promoted when I was still at Kaizer Chiefs 2017, 2018.
The young Mashiani from Tembisa.
Nkosing Pile Ngobo.
As well, yeah.
Ngezane.
Yes.
Bruce Vuma.
Ngezane, the one in the US currently.
Yes.
Denmark or US? Yes.
Yeah, he's in the US. And this young guy was playing as a defender. He also played as a defensive midfield, sometimes as a right back. He's playing in USA from Kaizer Chiefs. He was also promoted while I was still working at Kaizer Chiefs.
Wow.
But through the help of other technical members and the other members in the football fraternity who were working together with us, they contributed a lot towards the development. Arthur played a major role in all those things. So although my major job was more of the technical recruitment policies, all those things, and the signing of players into the or integrating them to the senior team.
You know, with what you just said now, it's quite impressive. And I would think, sitting here, someone watching this episode and say, but why did this guy leave Chiefs? This guy was a blessing to Chiefs because things were happening in his presence at Kaizer Chiefs. Good things were happening under your nose together with other Zwane, working hand in hand, side by side.
Yeah, people are subject to their opinion. They can talk that things were happening. Maybe it was by God's time. Remember, in life there's timing. God's timing is very important. Maybe it was meant for me to move and go and start another reserve team, another journey with Swallows, where I started. Remember, Swallows was promoted in 2019. Then I was recruited by Fanny Matita to say, hey, gentlemen, come and help us. I started recruiting from nowhere. Swallows had no development. But when we started this journey, it was so nice.
So hang on. The foundation, you laid the foundation for the MDC site that Swallows has now. You are the one who was instrumental in establishing that particular base.
Definitely.
Awesome.
So out of that development, we started recruiting players all over Gauteng, all over South Africa. Players from Durban, players from Limpopo will come for trials because we didn't want to do a public trial.
Okay.
Because we were going to experience more than 2,000. I know when you talk trials, all players want to come and play. And how are you going to manage in a day 2,000 players? It's a challenge. So we had to go and do manhunting of players. Go to the field, check what is happening, Then we'll talk to the coach, can you send this guy for trials?
Field, you mean in townships?
In the townships.
Okay.
So some will organize some friendly games. Fortunately, out of all those boys, we had 7 to 8 players who were promoted to the senior team. So, which means our recruitment was top. It's not me saying that it's the job that we did, because we still have a young boy from Crystal Park, Ngwenya. We call him Tiko. He has signed with the first team. We have Nkuse Ramba. He has signed with the first team. We had other boys who signed with the first team for Swallows. But our recruitment was top on. And Swallows had net development at that time. We understand it was a big challenge. And we competed until COVID hit hard on the country. So games were stopped. Then it became a challenge.
You're quite passionate with development on the ground. But from time to time, obviously, you come across kids from different backgrounds with different challenges. I'm talking here in a human space. Yeah, as a coach, as a head coach, obviously, you automatically become a father to these kids. I had the opportunity myself of trying my luck with certain teams, with certain players, although they were rejected. And after the trials, you hear a kid saying to me, man, we are going to most well again moto. I know, sprays, I know, where can you drop me off? And mind you, maybe we're in Tembisa and stuff like that. You see, did you come across challenges maybe from these young kids? Because they're not the same. They're coming from others impoverished backgrounds and so forth.
Yeah, it was a big problem, and it's still a problem. And narrowly so. You know, children, people can argue about this. Children from poor background are the ones who knows football.
I agree with you, and I'll tell you later as we continue why.
Poor children from the poor family background, they're good. You know why? It's because they give time.
Hunger.
Yes, they give time in playing and developing the street. These who are from the rich families, it's a big problem because they have these gadgets. They use, most of their time is used in the gadgets. So those who don't have these gadgets, where do they use their time? They go and play soccer. They even use this tennis ball, these small balls.
Yes.
They use them and try to do ball juggling. Then you can see that these young kids, there's talent. So we had problems when coming to financing these young kids. Some will manage to come with only a single trip. They can't go back. But as coaches, because of the love that we have, you feel pity for them. You end up using your money for these kids.
I can imagine.
That's how life it is. It's difficult. But let me tell you the other thing. The challenge that we have, you help them. They break into the senior team.
Yeah,
they forget
elite league.
They forget where they come from. Some will eat money recklessly so, without thinking their roots. That's where life skills come in. I used to talk to, when I was still working at Kaizer Chiefs, I used to talk to Ryder. The late Ryder, may his soul rest in peace. We used to do some skills development. We'll call these young players, reserve team and under 19, and tell them about financial planning, how to do things, how to manage their finances. So maybe it's another route that the South African sport society must take.
Talking about that, that's another human element that I want us to look at as we discuss right now. Lack of social skills. Off the record, we spoke, made an example of Lerato Chabangu, who has actually found himself in the predicament where he is right now. What is the problem with professional footballers who, after their playing days, they find themselves in such situations?
Actually, we need to be honest. It's not only in South Africa. You go to Europe, it's the very same challenge.
Wow.
Maybe the upbringing is a problem. Maybe the education, school education, the curriculum doesn't open our eyes. I would say there's a boy I used to manage. He played for Orlando Pirates, Sbusiso Mkoyan. He was still at Benoni. Then he requested me that, please, can he be my manager? I said, I've never done this. So, fortunately, he was playing in the national team under 23 under the leadership of Shakes Mashab.
Wow.
So, Floyd Mohale and Screamer, they were interested in him. So the boy told him that, hey, this is my manager. I went to the offices of Orlando Pirates, spoke to the Duke, the Iron King, himself. I spoke to him,
Dr.
Koza. I said, this is my boy. We spoke very nice. Then in terms we agreed that the boy should be signed. The boy was signed. But the mistake I did, I think he was still 17 years, if not 18. He was earning 25 grand.
At that time.
Yeah, the mistake I did, and I realized later,
Paperwork.
not the paperwork. I should have said, take the 5,000 or 10,000, invest it aside, and it should be a condition from Orlando Pirates that even if he's getting 25, I need 10,000 to be put aside for the next coming 3 years, so that if anything happens, he still have a savings on his side. That was the mistake that I've seen. I think the agents, in terms of player development, this is another route that you take, that anything is possible for players. So that's another way of saying life skills, very important. Maybe the managers will think about it. I'm not telling them on how to do it. But at the end of the day, the players are having problems. You know, Team Kwena, they have challenges.
I remember.
You have so many players.
Many of them.
But if we can help them to invest, because we'll still have these young players who get excited because of having broken through to the senior level, elite team. They think the world is theirs. But let me tell you, it takes split seconds to go down on your knees. So it is for us to help them how to invest. I mean, a child who's getting, a young boy at the age of 27, Pagamani Mahlambi, he was getting more than 400,000 in Al-Hali. And by that time, we were still 21, 22.
Too much.
But I was not his manager. Maybe if somebody could have said, okay, let's put it aside, but alcohol is ruining them. Even if alcohol is ruining them, even in England, that is still happening. You still have those problems.
So,
but how do we solve them?
Coach Whity, you're privy to all these developments as they happen within the teams. And as I'm sitting right here, actually, it boggles the mind for me to say that the likes of football bodies, your PSL, your SAFA, why is it difficult for them not to rope in these financial institutions from time to time to come and hold seminars and hold workshops and educate these players about the importance of being savvy with their finances and saving money for darker days, if I may put it that way, for a lack of a better way?
To be honest, with Kaizer Chiefs, that was done. We used to attend a workshop. There were seminars which were organized by Nedbank, where they speak to the players. So it's up to the individual. And you need to drill it. Make them understand that over and over again. Remember, in football, for a technique to pass, you need to drill it many a times. So which means in the financial issues, you still need to drill it that, hey, Mtaka, this is going to give you a problem. Behave like this. It must be embedded in their brains. But because once you say it once, I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. You must do it repeatedly. Then they'll understand. Even if they say you're annoying, it's fine for the benefit. A simple question. How many times were we smacked by our parents to do the correct things when we were growing up?
Many times.
Many a times. But those who are not doing correct things, the 2000s, they're doing wrong things because they say they've got rights. So we need to drill it many a times. They will understand.
So basically, this is it's a rabbit hole that will never end. These problems are still going to recur over and over again.
Definitely. My wish is they should stop. But how are we going to stop them? Maybe the platform that you get in the social media, everything that is happening, it must always talk directly to say, we don't need this kind of behavior. It will lead to 1, 2, 3. Maybe some will take it out of 10. Maybe once you have managed to convince 2 or 3, it's an achievement. You can't achieve the whole society. You can't actually convince the whole society. But once you convince 2 or 3, it's an achievement.
Let's turn attention to your entity, that is your development site. What they call it?
What is a football academy?
What is a academy? What drove you to start up such an entity? And tell us about it, where it is right now, and who are the players, perhaps, that you can say, these are my highlights. These are some of the players that have been produced by the academy itself. Yeah. So that the audience can understand where it is, tell us about the location and so forth, because who knows, there could be a parent in Niger, in Duduza, in Sakane, Brakpan, your Danota, your Selection Park, etc., who will be watching this and has a child there who's quite inspired and very aspirational to become a football player one of these days.
You know, to develop a player, it's a process. And there are many things that you need to follow. People need to understand that. You need to understand that it's a process. And it needs a passionate person. So the academy that we started at Nigel, it actually encompassed the community of Tsakane, Tutuza, and Guatemala.
I see.
So the idea of starting it was seeing that there's Excellent Park, and it's far on the side of Captain Park.
On the Fontaine.
Yeah, on the east end.
Far east.
Far east, there's nothing. So the question was, that school of excellence cannot accommodate all these children within Egurulen. So somebody must do something. With the experience that I got from School of Excellence when I was still working there, with the experience that I got when I was still working at Kaizer Chiefs, then I felt I can do it. I sat down with my guys, we started discussing. I showed them that we can open doors
for many young kids.
And we can also go to the municipality, because in the Municipalities Act, there's this thing of service delivery.
Okay.
Once you bring money, it's part of service delivery for the development of the kids. Some people don't understand. So fortunately, I went to Nigel High. We spoke very nice with the school governing body, because you must request permission. So they granted us permission that you can open the school. They've got the hostel where kids can stay and sleep. So we recruited almost 30 kids who were going for grade 8. We conducted assessment trials. So everything went well.
Okay.
2019.
Okay.
So we recruited.
That's when it started.
When
2019.
it started, yes.
Okay.
Kids were staying at school. We had the house father, had coaches. Those gentlemen, the coaches were paid. It's development. Everything went well.
Wow.
2020, we even paid at the school for them to eat 3 meals. It's breakfast, lunch and dinner. Now, we saved many kids by staying at school. Remember, as a parent, you'll get worried when it's 4 or 5, where's my son? There's nyaupe, all these social illnesses. But knowing very well that at school, children are monitored by qualified teachers and qualified house father. So everything went well. Then came
COVID.
2020. Was it 2021 or 2020?
2020.
2020. We're expecting funding from municipality.
The seat of Egurulen.
Yes, because they were giving us money. They were giving us millions.
Through the sports department.
Yes.
Shrek.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it hit us so hard. Now we couldn't do it. Children could no more stay at school. Who's going to feed them? The school cannot feed them. Remember, this money we're getting from Shrek municipality. It helped us a lot. But we had to hit the rock. So they started things going bad now.
Okay.
Yeah, then we started, but training was still on. We had to make parents understand that we can't be paying your school fees anymore. Children cannot sleep there anymore because of 1, 2, 3. But parents were very cooperative. They brought their children. Children are no more staying at school at Nigel High.
Okay.
They were traveling. They were brought in the morning, all those things. But remember, along the way, it becomes a problem for some parents because they're not working.
Exactly.
So we managed to save them by making kids to sleep there. But because there was this challenge of the finances, it became difficult. So we slowly had those problems. But we still had to train kids, identify them, plant them in other academies. Your Chiefs, your Sundowns, your Pirates. I still have players who are from Nigeria, who are Pirates.
Wow.
So we managed to do that.
Development side.
Yes.
Okay.
Even in Swallows, we had 3 players who were from Nigel High who managed to play in the reserve team. So we wiped.
Coach, talking about football academies, there are academies out there that are mushrooming, that are emerging, and how does one draw the line, or a young child or a parent tell if this is a reputable football academy or a nun. I saw a very touching story of a young man who was actually led down to Devon to join Golden Arrows. He was made to wait at the station until around 6 o'clock, and this old man, as he was saying on one of the national radio station, was picked up, taken to a house, and some of the things that were done to him, I cannot mention them here on this episode. So how do you draw the line that, yeah, this one is a reputable one, and then this one is not a reputable one? What signs should one pick up as you talk to the audience out there, the parents out there?
As I talk to the parents,
Yeah.
you know, it's a difficult one. Children these nowadays are controlling parents.
Wow.
Now, I have a case whereby a child wanted to go and play for an academy in Pretoria. So fortunately, the mother is a teacher. She called me that my son has went to Pretoria, there's an academy. I said, what is that academy? She mentioned the name of the academy. I said, I don't even know that academy. But can you go through SAFA and Google and check the legitimacy of that, only to find that there's nothing. And the boy was already that side. I said, he must come back. There's nothing you can do. He must come back because he'll be exposed to wrong things. So what parents need to do, they need to Google, get into contact with SAFA, check the legitimacy of these academies. And also go through, there's nothing wrong to ask people who are involved in football. Ask them, do you know anything? If you don't get the real answer, the satisfying answer, get to another one. There's nothing wrong. By God's grace, you'll get the answer. Somehow you'll get the answer and get to know about it. If not, parents must go straight to SAFA and ask, there's this thing. Because at the end of the day, this is your child. So you can't let your child go to be actually monitored by somebody you don't know. Now, there are parents, there are child molesters,
Indeed.
There are pedophilias who are actually doing wrong things in our kids.
Yeah,
so what are you going to say as a parent once your child gets exposed to such things?
So in short, any institution or any academy that is established, the requirement is that they need to register with a football body of that particular country.
Definitely, because the technical directors actually issued some forms where all the academies must be registered. So those who are upcoming must also be registered so that you know the personnel within that academy. And it speaks about the institution. It speaks about the infrastructure. It speaks about the qualifications of
the coaches,
the management. And all those people must be vetted so that you understand who are you dealing with. But if we are not taking that route, you're going to have a problem. You'll end up getting your children somewhere in one of the islands where they'll be used for certain things.
I'm interested, you just jog my mind here about qualifications. I see SAFA has laid the gauntlet very tough when it comes to qualifications. So you guys should, if you want to be a coach at this particular division, you need to obtain CAF, whatever licenses. Just educate the audience about these licenses, what purpose they serve and what they mean, and are you eligible also to can go abroad, like our very colorful coach Piso Musimane, who is now in the Arab states, who has done wonders down there coaching on those particular countries due to those licenses.
Thanks. We need to understand one thing, that when you talk to the community at large, people must understand you cannot go and teach a child if you're not qualified. At school, we have teachers who are qualified. So football should also be considered as a schooling environment, but it speaks football. So you need to have qualified people. Parents must understand that for me to coach his child, I should be a qualified somebody so that I can earn that respect. How do you coach if you're not qualified? So people must, you see the problem is we've been in this world for a longer time doing wrong things. When people have to change, it becomes a crisis. People are dragging their feet. But somehow we need to take a vocal stand, an unpleasant decision that people must go to school so that they can empower themselves and understand what is needed. So I think SAFA is taking a good route, because once you talk development, at primary, you're talking grassroots. And once you go secondary, it's youth coaching. Once you go to ABC Mutsepe tertiary, we're talking a B license. Then A license, you can coach all over. But with what we have in the country, it's easy for us, as long as people can oblige and listen, that we need to be qualified so that we can do the correct things.
And
Because
is there any cost involved to
There
this,
are costs.
Particular lessons? And if there are costs, maybe briefly, what is the price range? Because you could be having someone in KZN, someone in Polokwane, someone in the Northwest, a young man who's also passionate about football, and one day they would like to become coaches, but they lack these formal qualifications, and they want to equip themselves.
with where we start at primary, that's what we call grassroots. Grassroots, it's 3,008. Some regions will say 4,000. Then you go for C license. C license 4,000. It depends on the region, but it's not that big. Then there's B license that is coming now. It's almost 15,000. Then A license, it's 35,000. But if you're a foreigner, it's 40,000. So currently there's A license that is taking place where you have your Gavin Hunt.
Okay.
You have your
I saw that.
Steve Barker from Stellenbosch.
Stellenbosch Football
You
Club.
have Eric Tankler who's
From
doing
Cape Town Spurs, Cape Town
Yes,
City.
they are currently attending the course. Your Bobby Solomon, you have Jabulani Mendu, they are attending the course. You have guys who are actually seeing that the importance of education is very key.
And they're paying from their own pockets, or their teams are paying for them.
Some will pay from their pockets, some will pay from their from the teams where they are working.
Okay.
Teams will do that for
We'll
them.
do that for them.
Yes.
So where does all this qualifications, especially the last one you spoke about, where does it put them? Gavin Hunt, can he be eligible to go to Manchester United in the UK and coach Manchester United? Are they equal also to the likes of your Pep Guardiola, the likes of your Arteta at Arsenal?
You know what is interesting? Africa has to take its own ownership and do its own curriculum.
Move away from.
Yes,
Move away
Europe do
from.
its own. But when looking at UEFA and looking at CAF, the content is the same. How do you attack on the width? How do you attack on the
Exactly.
width from Europe, from Africa? It's the same. How do you overload players? It's the same. The
the
only
box,
thing is
in the
ownership.
center, yeah.
The only thing it's the ownership to say, this is from CAF, this is from EF. Now, the thing is, Gavin Hunt cannot go and coach with CAF license where in Spain, in England,
Is it undermined?
it's undermined. It's undermined. Because Gavin Hunt has done this course of UEFA. But South Africa, we said in Africa, let him do our content. Let him do it in Africa. Now you ask yourself, Pizzo has done this professional license, the tactical session, all those things in Morocco. I think it was in Morocco. Now, he was not going to coach if he didn't do that.
In Morocco.
Yes, but the platform, the foundation was actually built or laid by South Africa. The SAFA course is very constructive and very, I don't know what word can I use. They are very constructive and very beneficial to our coaches because with what he has done, Pizzo, at Sundowns, it laid the foundation through. It's from where? It's from SAFA. Now he was able to do all those things. That is why they recognize and respect him so much when it comes to footballing, footballing world.
Coach Whity, I want to put you on the spot. I don't know if you'll answer this one. The bet officiating has reared its ugly face once again in our football. I'll make a number of examples. We know that the former referee Victor Fangwane, he is a guest on one of the television channel of sport. Bet officiating.
Yes.
What can you say about that? The derby, there were controversies, a controversial decision taken there. Some argue that the Pirates were supposed to have 2 penalties. Fast forward to that Pirates Polokwane or Sikokune 2-1 victory to Sikokune a few weeks ago. Again, they say a goal was disallowed that was supposed to have been a goal. Just on Friday, the CAF Champions League between Sundowns and Yanga from Tanzania. Yanga scored a goal. Apparently, the goal was denied. Again, the referee has been on the spot. The referee has been called to say bet officiating in Africa. Let me not even say PSN, in Africa. Why is that? And what can be done?
Yeah, now it's a difficult one because I'm not a ref, but I know we always complain.
Yes.
Even if we say specifically Africa. It's bad. It doesn't develop and it doesn't grow our football.
It kills
Our football
It kills
because
football.
the coaches during the week they are preparing their
Exactly.
players, tactics, technique, all those things.
Enormous task, enormous efforts has been exerted in preparation of the game.
Now come a weekend, you lose the game because of a poor decision from the ref. But I don't have to say much about that. I know it's a challenge.
Okay.
That one I don't want to dwell into.
Fine.
It's a problem.
But to wrap it up here, what does the future hold for the academy? And looking forward to the future in terms of the academy, what are the needs? Sell yourself, sell the academy. This is your platform here.
Yeah, for our academy to be developed and recognized, it's going to be a difficult thing. Now we still want the outside world to understand that the concept of School of Excellence that is in Excellent Park, we actually took that concept back to Nigel. Children will be staying there,
What's a Dosa Academy?
staying at the hostel, sleeping there. They'll only go back to their places, their homes, during school holidays and come back. If that is going to take 5 years, let me tell you now, if a child is staying at school for 5 years, you're going to have the best players because they'll be living football. They'll be breathing football. It's schoolwork, football. Schoolwork, football.
Was about to
Three
say
things that they are doing.
It's coupled with academia as well.
Three things. They sleep at school, they attend school there, they train. So there's no way that you'll fail. With the highly qualified coaches that I have there at my disposal, it's easy to actually develop young players. Fortunately, last year, October, I attended FIFA Coach Educator Development Pathway. I'm one of the FIFA recognized Coach Educator Development Pathway. I can be invited anywhere in Zambia, Mauritius, to train the coaches as it applies in South Africa. I'm one of the coaches. I think this year, I conducted courses. The last I did now, it's not this year, it's last year, October. This gentleman was coaching Sundowns and also coached the under 23. David Notwan, he was in my class.
Okay.
Rene Letsolonyana was in my class. Many ex-professional players were attending my classes because I'm one of the SAFA instructors. But with positive attitude and the people wanting to learn, and the SAFA playing its cards very clean, it's easy to develop and have better players because you can only have better players if you have qualified coaches.
I wanted also to reflect on the SAFA shenanigans that are happening behind closed doors, but because we are pressed for time, speak to the corporate out there. Tell the corporate the needs of your academia, football academy. They need to come on board. They should stop talking about development and empowerment on paper, but they need to speak, or rather to act, or where their mouth is.
Maybe what we need to understand from the corporate is, I know there's this social, is it CSI, social corporate investment?
Yeah, CSI.
Where
corporate social investment.
Yes, where they need to deposit their money to ensure that this is what they're doing for the community. I think what they need to do, maybe they're doubting us, let them talk to the school because school finances are actually audited every year. The SGP is there. They should actually budget. And we have approached many companies, but they are reluctant to help. Maybe it's being doubtful or what, I'm not quite sure. But if they can go to the school and say, we are prepared to help you, we can do 1, 2, 3. Let me tell you, in the next 5 or 10 years, we are going to produce best players.
South Africans, here's a selfless man who has taken upon himself in making sure that he capacitates, not only that, but empower young people to become greater people in future. Let's join hands in the development of our country. Coach Whity, I thank you for your time. But before I let you go, where can people get in touch with Coach Whity? Maybe the academia address and so forth?
I think the best thing is the school, although I'm not quite sure about the school's phone numbers, but I can give you my number, 083 3316335. I'll repeat that, 083 3316335. My email address, it's a long name, ntsikelelo@yahoo.com.
Well, there you have it, your episode of Biggie on Sport. We'd like to thank you for taking your time and watching this episode. Don't forget to share and like on our socials, as you can see them reflected at the bottom of your screen. Until then, sharp, sharp.
Thank you.
Biggie on sports. He says what they won't say. Tune in, connect, and hear a different perspective.